Our next question comes from a Kate Little, please.
Hi. Given that the issue of tuition fees is such a crucial one for so many young people, why is it that the major parties are avoiding debating the issue at all? Is it because young people are the least likely to vote and higher education is an easy target?
So, why are the parties avoiding the issue of tuition fees? Let's start with Douglas, because we haven't started with you yet.
Okay, well, look, I hate to break it to you. By the way, congratulations for getting a clap for a question. I wish I got a clap for questions. Look, it's not, I hate to break it to you, but it's not exclusively the issue of student tuition fees that the main parties won't address. The main parties aren't addressing almost any major issues. And there's a reason for that, which is the Labour government in its dying days is simply trying to hold on to power. At least Gordon Brown is trying to hold on to power. Will have to be prized from the doorway of number 10. And the Conservative Party believe on current opinion polls that they are lining up for office. They are right. They will become the party of government next year. And the thing that they are considering is that they should do nothing at all to reveal policies, because if they revealed any policies, people might not like some of those policies, and therefore they wouldn't get into government. I think this is the most terrible letting down of the electorate that I can imagine. It means effectively we have no choices between the parties, no real choices to make. But the I got a clap for an answer. But the other thing, just quickly on this, is the following. There are very tough decisions that the government is going to have to make over tuition fees in this country. With the rise of people going to university, we do find ourselves in a situation that somebody simply has to pay. And government is going to have to, and opposition is going to have to come up with more realistic ways to deal with that. We have been living in recent years through a period of complete unreality under a government and an opposition that desire policies, say they want certain policies, but don't sign the checks for them. And that cannot continue. At some point, as we all know with our bank managers, reality comes hitting.
Okay, let's go on to Hazel, representing Labour Party. What's going on with the Labour Party with tuition fees at the moment?
Well, I want us to get on with it, to have the review, look at the evidence about what's worked, what hasn't worked, and then see if we can get a system in place that means that universities can get the money in that they need to get, but at the same time that there's more fairness in the system, particularly, I think, for part-time students who at the moment are having to pay fees very often for their courses when full-time students don't pay up front. And I think there's some big anomalies in the system that need to be sorted out, as well as purely the issue around do we take the caps off tuition fees or don't we? I think the whole system needs to be examined. I am in favour of getting more people to higher education. Certainly, you know, years and years ago in my city, I think it was something like 5% of people went to higher education. It's now 42%, and I think that's a good thing in itself, irrespective of what work they're going to.
Sorry to interrupt you, just to cut a long story short. Are you going to be increasing tuition fees at the next election?
At the moment, I've no idea what the policy will be because we said that there would be a review. No, well, I mean, that's the truth, straight answer, right? Because we said that there would be a review, that it would be based on 3 years of evidence from when tuition fees were brought in. That 3 years of evidence is just about to I think, be completed by early next year. And therefore, there ought to be a proper analysis of what has the tuition fees meant, which people have been perhaps treated unfairly, are the things we can put in place. I've just read the report from the National Union of Students, which has an interesting proposal about a kind of trust fund that's funded by people when they get into work. It's a kind of graduate tax, but a bit more sophisticated than a simple graduate tax. It's quite interesting. Some of the proposals to get universities to be more enterprising, to work more with business, to draw in funds so that they can provide a better quality of education for students. Again, I think a very, very interesting proposal. But, you know, if we want more people to go to university, we do have to pay. There is a cost to that. How we can spread that as fairly as we can across students, perhaps across employers as well. One of the proposals is that in the future, employers who actually get the benefit of people having had higher education, maybe they ought to be making a contribution towards the costs as well. So we should look at all of those issues.
Okay, let's try and get some comments in on this one. Is there anyone who has thoughts on why the parties aren't discussing the issue of tuition fees?
Yeah, right. Basically, I think the fact that you're not talking about tuition fees is one thing, but it's another thing that apparently you want me to go to university, but I'm going to have to think about leaving university soon because Student Finance England haven't paid my tuition fees yet. So, like, that's something else that you're not talking about students with. Like, I am or was a Labour supporter. I'm not a Conservative supporter, and I wanted to go into politics. But at the moment, I don't trust that until you start treating us lot with a bit of respect, and then we might vote for you.
Thank you very much. Hands up for any more comments. Yeah.
You say that you want more students to go to university, and the government does have a target of getting 50% of our young people into higher education. Surely allowing tuition fees to rise year on year just contradicts that.
Thank you very much. And just one last comment, please, just on this question.
Hi, I hate to change the subject, but I can't believe it's not already come up.
Keep it short then, because we've got a lot of questions.
The war in Iraq, the war in Afghanistan, particularly our troops in Afghanistan. The people are against it. We claim to be a democracy. You work for us, and you are using our money on this war.
Great. We'll
when are you going to
listen
listen to the people and end the madness?
You can take that on board. We'll come to Iain next, please. Iain.
Tuition fees is one of those subjects where, and I will try and be honest, my heart says one thing and my head says the other, because I remember not all that long ago being involved with the National Union of Students, being on the Higher Education National Committee and going to all the marches, and my heart still says that tuition fees are wrong, and that in a perfect world the tuition fees would not be there at all. But then my head says, how do we actually pay for higher education? I would love to see the fees come down. I think Hazel's made it very clear by going all the way around the houses talking about a review that the one thing isn't going to happen in the review is that tuition fees are going to come down or be abolished. They're going to stay the same, or they might well go up.
But there is going to be a review, though, the same as Hazel's. Well, just to clarify that.
But, I think tuition fees are, unfortunately, and it's not the popular thing to say in this room, I think they are here for the foreseeable future at least. I would love to be in a financial position in the future to cut tuition fees, to abolish tuition fees even. We can't do that with a 200 billion pound a year deficit which we have at the moment. I'm not going to win any friends in this room by saying that they're going to stay. I paid tuition fees when I went to university just the same as you are doing now. I would love to cut them. I don't think it's something that's going to be on the table in the near future.
Okay, can we, sorry, you have to end it there. We'll come straight back to the question, if that's okay. Kate, wherever you are. Kate, just very briefly, just what's your answer to the question in terms of why they're avoiding tuition fees?
I think they're not answering the questions because they know if they do, we're not going to vote for them.